Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to NJPW Puroresu Review. I am your co-host, 2/3 Andre C. Right over here, I've got my tag team partner. She's the crazy one of the two of us. She's the one that's going to jump off the really high ladder. It's Melball. How you doing, Melball?
I am doing great, but you're just a big old liar over there, aren't you?
Out of the
There's
two of us,
no
who would the people imagine to be the one to jump off the ladder? They would imagine
not
you jumping off the ladder. They don't even think I could climb
no,
the ladder.
not my startled ass. There's no way. You'd have to convince me to get in the ring first.
You've been in the ring more than I have in a wrestling capacity. Come on, I've taken like 3 bumps in my life. You've actually done full training.
I did 2 days.
That's more
Just for
training than
just
me.
for the backyardigans who don't know, that doesn't equate to I can be a professional wrestler.
It's more
Taking
than
bumps
me.
off a ladder.
I climb
Oh
in a
my
ring, I
god.
yell shit, and I get the hell out. That's all I do in a wrestling ring.
That's all I'd probably do too.
How are
Oh my
you?
god. I'm all right. I'm pretty okay. I'm tired. These shows, I've been catching up on shows because I made the mistake of not watching one. So
Mm-hmm.
now my day has been
Oh,
catching up on everything.
I'm a
Ugh.
couple shows behind right now. I still have so we are here to chat Wrestle
Mhm.
Kingdom 19. That
Mhm.
happened this morning as we record this. In about an hour and a half is the start of the pre-show for Wrestle Dynasty, and it's only 6:20 here. So about an hour 40 minutes the pre-show for, so we get to watch. I get to watch the show live without having to stay up all night, which is going to be great. I'm
Yeah.
very happy about this. But I still got
Mhm.
to watch yesterday's till January 3rd's Mari Gold and Stardom New Year Dream. Both of those I still
Mhm.
have to watch because again I had to work all day and just
And
I
some
had
big
plans
news
last
came
night.
out of both of those shows.
Oh, so much. I've been
Oh,
spoiled. I'm completely spoiled on Mario Gold, but I still got to watch it all. And I know of a couple things that came off the Stardom show. So
that's fair. That's fair. It's hard to stay away. I mean, we have to be on the socials to keep a keep a nose about everything and all the news and stuff. So yeah, I had a few
I
things spoiled too. I'm a little sad.
I spoil.
Well,
I did not. I did. The only thing I was spoiled off for this show, as we were about to talk about, was 19, was the never open weight title, but it was the ending I expected, so it wasn't really that much of a spoiler. It was just it's just coming true our prediction, and then yeah, I stayed off. I muted the group chat we're in. That's all the wrestling talk. I muted that for the day. So watching the show, so nothing gets spoiled for me.
yes, I know
Sending
you have some messages waiting that I'm
Oh,
sitting
I've
there like
responded.
Andre's probably watching things. He'll get to us when he gets to us.
I responded. Don't worry. I responded to the group chat.
The meeting chat.
Oh, there's an eating. Oh, I saw it. I just didn't
Yeah,
respond.
yeah.
I
Yeah, you
respond.
just didn't
No,
respond. I answered for you.
I'm pretty sure I responded. That was okay. Well, we'll talk about this later because this is not part of this show. We got to get through this.
No.
We have an hour and 45 minutes until, or in 25 minutes until Wrestle Dynasty starts, but it'll still be another 10 minutes for the show actually, 10, 15 minutes for the show actually starts. So let's
And
get
we're
into
gonna
this.
give Melball time to have a quick shower before we do that.
We don't need that.
Rude.
Let's now let's get into it. Let's talk some Wrestle Kingdom 19 right there. Ooh, look, it's beautiful. I
Yes.
love that graphic. It came out.
It was
Their
very nice.
yeah, same
Very
background
crisp.
that where they. It's the same background the Elite put out on New Year's Eve the one year when they announced AEW.
That's that's amazing. I love that for that.
Let's kick it off with the New Japan Ranbo. The Ranbo, Ranbo. Ranbo, not Rambo. Ranbo. That's
They have some trouble with the M and the N's, I'm noticing. We saw the Invisible Man on DDT, not the Invisible Man, and now we're watching the Rambo, not the Rambo.
But Rambo, it'd be weird if they were having a Rambo because they'd all be like wrestling inside of Sylvester Stallone. I mean, that'd be
I
weird.
mean, could you imagine though, with them just tying up their little bandanas and just going hard? I love it.
Rambo. Everybody's doing their best Rambo impression. It'd be great. The kickoff.
Entrances. That would be pretty freaking funny.
The first entrant in this match was the Great Okan. Second entrant in here is making his return to New Japan Pro Wrestling after working in the Noge Dojo with the Young Lions for the latter part of this year. It's War Master Josh Barnett, a man who worked in New Japan back in the early 2000s, actually. And is also a UFC fighter, King of Pancrase, UFC Heavyweight Champion, Pride Champion. This guy's done a lot in his career. The guy who's been running Bloodsport since Matt Riddle at WWE. So, yeah, Bloodsport has been his game for a long time. So these two kick it off. Yeah. Third entrant, Josh Barnett's student, Boltin Oleg, makes his way out because he did train with Barnett at the dojo. Fourth out is Hirooki Goto. Out number 5 is Blue Justice Yuji Nagata. And Nagata and Barnett locking up in a kind of a symbolic rematch from Barnett's first ever match in New Japan Pro Wrestling for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship back then. So, yeah, they want to capitalize on the fact that it's a former UFC champion. So Boltin and Oleg and Josh Barnett end up fighting at one point. Boltin tries to toss Josh Barnett over the top. Josh pulls him over with him, and they both go tumbling to the floor to be the first 2 eliminations in this match.
What was impressive about that one is that he had him in that lock. I don't remember what it was, but that they went over and they never broke it. They were still on the outs.
Like a triangle or armbar almost.
That's kind of what I thought it was. But like again, what was the most impressive is when they fell out of the ring and they didn't break the lock. He kept. Barnett kept that lock on, and they started ringing the bell furiously, trying to break them up. I didn't see what ended up coming out of that, but it looked pretty cool.
Yeah. Out number 6 is Togi Makabe. Number 7 is the power walking fiend himself. It's Kenta power walking his way down to the ring.
I love this. I like it. I love Kenta because he can do both. You know, when he wants that intensity, he is intense. He will be that Kenta that he needs. But when he's in something like this, you know, he's and when he enters the arena like that, it's just going to be comedic gold. And it was.
So Nagata and Kenta are facing off. They're fighting. Kenta ends up tossing Nagata over the top rope. Nagata tries to pull him over, but Kenta gets free and boots Nagata off the apron, eliminating him for the third elimination. Out number 8 is YOSHI-HASHI. Out number 9 is the man who is out pimped tonight, Yujiro Takahashi.
I was going to say that was a conversation I had with somebody that Yujiro Takahashi has got to be the worst pimp in existence. Never ever coming out with a ho no mo.
Yeah. And Walker makes a joke about being surprised that they still have Yujiro's singles music on file saved in the computer. I laughed so hard at that.
I didn't hear that comment. That's amazing.
Great job, Mr. Walker Stewart. That was amazing.
That was a bazinga.
Yeah. YOSHI-HASHI trying to eliminate Kenta. He's trying to dump him over, but Yujiro comes from behind to save his stablemate, because technically House Torture is Bullet Club affiliated, and dumps out YOSHI-HASHI, and he is eliminated. Number 4. Out number 10, Toriano. One third of the Openweight champions.
Did you notice that as soon as his music started, the announcer started the rambling?
100%.
It was so great. And he was still going by the time Yano walked that entire ramp and got into the ring. He was still going. He's got so much shit to announce. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So Yano ends up low bridging Kenta over the top, and then as Yujiro goes to run at Yano ducks out of the way, and Yujiro hits Kenta, sending him to the floor to be eliminated. Number 5. Then Yano immediately rolls up Yujiro to pin him, because there is pins in this match, to eliminate Yujiro. Number 6. So out out comes number 11, Hiroshi Tenzan. And this is where I'm sorry. I love Tenzan from the history perspective, but watching people sell for him now is really hard to suspend the disbelief because he moves so awkwardly. He is a fraction of the size he used to be. You can see that he just doesn't have, like, his chops are like, even when he's swinging as hard as he can, it's like, and it's just, it pains me watching Khan sell for him.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. It was nostalgic, and the crowd popped. But this was definitely like the whole match overall kind of felt like it's showing off some of the new guys while being able to still give some of the vets a spot on the show. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I missed writing a entrant here, didn't I? I did.
No, not so. Who?
No, I did because there's an elimination of somebody. Yeah. At some
I
point
haven't
here.
seen one.
Oh no, I talked about Togi Makabe, didn't I?
Yeah,
Never mind.
you
I
did.
did. I'm not crazy. It was just higher up my list. Out number 12 was MLW World and Tag Team Champion Satoshi Kojima carrying the tag team title. Why he doesn't carry the world title still bothers me.
Hey, you know what? I mean, we knew, well, you didn't, but I knew that there was a promoter here who wouldn't allow certain talents to take certain championships because bitches be tripping.
It's
And
true.
it ended up the one time that he let somebody take it.
We know this.
It
I was working
it
that show.
ended up going sideways. So I'm not fully like mad about it but it's Koji. You know?
Yeah.
What's he gonna do? Put some bread on it? He's not gonna do anything to that belt. He's gonna return it. He's coming
Yeah.
back.
So there's a spot where Kojima's holding Yano. Tenzan goes to the lariat, but Yano ducks out of the way. And Tenzan lariats Kojima, knocking him down. And Yano rolls up Tenzan for the seventh elimination.
Yeah.
So out number 13 is Tomoaki Hanma. Out number 14 is Cold-Blooded SANADA. A big fall from grace here from last year's main event to this year's pre-show match.
I was thinking the exact same thing when he came out. I was like, well, isn't this an interesting change? Would we consider that a glow up? Because if I'm being honest, I like the character and the attitude a little bit better, especially given what we got in this. It was a lot more personality than we got in the main event last year.
Yeah, it wasn't a glow down, but I wouldn't call this a glow up. I would just call this a glow.
It was an illumination.
It was an illumination. There you go. So Kojima does get the speed chops to Sanada in the corner. Then Makabe gets up and does 10 punches. This fires Sanada up because he's pissed. And technically, Togi Makabe has never been eliminated from this Rumble because he was tossed.
He went through the center.
He went through the top and middle rope, but he never came. He went outside. He attacked Khan, but then they just sent him to the back.
They Teddy Hearted him.
Yeah, they just okay. And then Sanada ends up low blowing Kojima right afterwards and tosses Kojima over the top to eliminate him. Mm-hmm. So out number 15 is Taichi. And Taichi and Sanada immediately start brawling. They brawl to the floor and all around. Mm-hmm. Out number 16, Stone Pitbull, Tomohiro Ishii. Mm-hmm. This is where Hanma and Ishii start with the strikes and the headbutts. And I was like, oh god, not the headbutts. Because these are full skull-to-skull ones. Ishii finishes off Hanma with a brainbuster and pins him to eliminate him. Mm-hmm. Out number 17, the final entrant at number 17. Great count. It's Alex Zayne, the Sauce. Welcome back, Mr. Saucy.
Look, we've known from few past Rumbles, both big and small. Numbers are hard.
Well, we were at one, and it was like a 28-person Rumble. I think the one you and me were recently at.
Yeah, and it originally started as like a 36-person one, and then as people wanted none of that bullshit, they dropped out, which is fair.
Yeah, I agree. SANADA shoves the ref. He goes for the low blow, but he misses. So he grabs Taichi's legs, puts it between his own, and fakes out that Taichi kicked him in the balls. So the ref disqualifies Taichi out of the Rambo. So the Rambo, you can be eliminated by DQ. And
Disappointed in you, Kenta Sato. I expect better of your reffing.
I don't. Not from any Japanese ref, honestly.
That's because you don't like Marty.
Oh,
Kenta
no.
Sato is the good ref.
Oh, I'll be yelling to fire a ref tonight. Do not worry. And then SANADA has the great idea to jump over the top rope to the apron, and then Taichi boots him off of it, and he gets eliminated, and they brawl to the back. Yeah. So Zayne has avoided all. He just stood in the corner and let them fight, which was great. He then he drops Goto, hits the springboard double knees, and hits a cinnamon twist to him. Yano runs at Zayne with the corner pad, swinging out, but Zayne ducks, and Yano goes toppling over the top rope and to the floor and is eliminated. So I would call that a self-elimination right there, just like SANADA. It was a self-elimination. Those were both self-elimination.
I'll accept it.
Khan ends up tossing Ishii and Alex Zayne over the top to the apron. Khan ends up knocking Ishii off the apron, but Zayne does get back in. Goto gets Zayne over the top in the corner. Zayne grabs Goto for Khan to come hit him, but as Khan's running at them, Goto ducks out of the way, and Khan smashes Zayne into the second row. Like, he went towards where the ramp is, but good bit past the barricade. It was a pretty good launch.
It was a good yeet.
And Zayne is eliminated. So we are down to Hirooki Goto and the Great Khan. Honestly, I can believe for either of these two men to win. It's a plausible final two. So we get a good back and forth between the two. Goto hits a GTR, sends Khan over the top. Khan tries to suplex Goto to the apron, but Goto fights out, and he comes at him with a very hard lariat, sending Khan to the floor, and Hirooki Goto wins the Rambo in 34 minutes and 35 seconds, the second longest match on this show.
I'm not going to lie, it felt like it too. It drug a little bit for me. Because I was having a lot of fun with it at first, but then I'm just like, okay, this is getting a little repetitive, a little redundant for me. When I saw Alex Zayne come in, it brought me back into the match. I was so excited, especially his gear was so different than what we usually see, because usually he's like the bright red with the black or blue accent. And this was the opposite of what we usually see. It was the black with the red accent, which I actually really, really like. Is he heel now, or is he was that just I haven't seen anything that would insinuate.
It's just the colors for the show.
Because his temperament was the same as it usually is, which is very facey, very over with the crowd. The crowd loves him there, and rightfully so. Very, very talented actor. His moveset is so unique, so cool. That was the one person who brought me back into the match. And bless him for making it to the last three, because it made the rest of the match more enjoyable for me.
Yeah.
As soon as YOSHI-HASHI came out, I was like wanting to flip a table.
Yeah, honestly, I think it was like I wasn't even mad when Nagata got in this. But when Makabe showed up in this match, I'm like, oh, we're still gonna get all the old guys. But as soon as Nagata rolled in, I'm like, okay, we're getting old guys that shouldn't even be in this match, because I could believe Josh Barnett could win this. I could believe Boltin Oleg could win this. I could believe Goto, Khan, Kenta, kinda, because they don't.
SANADA, Taichi, yeah.
SANADA, Taichi, Zayne, I could believe him.
100%.
I truly could believe seeing Kojima win this, because he still works at a super high level. Same with Nagata. But like Zayne, I could easily see winning this. Ishii, I could have seen winning this. But like, there's certain guys in here that popped in. I'm like, oh god, why?
I mean, Kojima is still going, but did you watch that match I recommended to you? You had a lot to watch. That's why I'm asking. The one with Boltin Oleg. 1-on-1 Boltin Oleg.
I haven't seen it yet. Sorry.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
We're back again.
It was. I highly recommend it. highly recommend checking out that match because it had a very interesting ending, but the match itself was just a great traditional classic wrestling match. But when I tell ya, I saw a side of Kojima that I have personally never seen before after the match. You'll know what I mean. You'll get I think you'll get the same feeling I got in that match. But let's get on into the main show. We're 20 minutes in. We have a
Yeah.
lot to talk about still.
So we kicked it off with IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Tokyo Terror Ladder Match. A lot of words. Intergalactic Jet Setters, Kevin Knight and Kushida versus Catch 22's Francesco, Akira, and TJP versus the Ichiban Sweet Boys, Kosei, Fujita, and Robbie Eagles versus the Bullet Club War Dogs, Clark Connors, and Drilla Moloney. War Dogs coming out with doing a better job pimping than Yujiro because they had 4 ladies with them.
They were
maybe
hot as hell too.
But maybe they called Yujiro to get them. You never know. It could have been. Could called Yujiro.
I don't think the War Dogs are that close with House of Torture no more.
The fur coats they were wearing in their silver gear.
So cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Catch 22 out with like I guess like Daft Punk or like Squid Game style masks.
I know that they're popular in something. I couldn't tell you what, but yeah, Akira's kind of looked like it had the face with the green circle and the ears, and then some little tentacle dreadlock things.
Yeah, and then
it was really cool.
Yeah, Ichiban Sweet Boys just rolling out, just looking like normal dudes. So I was like, okay. And then the champs coming out in just purple. I was like, Melball colors.
I dig it.
I'm like, I guess Melball's. I was like, I guess Melball's on cheering for them tonight. Okay.
Oh hell no! I mean, I much love to them. I love them a lot, but hell no.
Taiji Ishimori is on the commentary team for this match. Everyone's brawling. There's a great spot where Knight and the Ichiban Sweet Boys go to hit Knight with the ladder together. He hops over. Kushida drop kicks the ladder into them, and then Knight does his jumping frog splash onto the ladder, hurting himself just as much as the opponents. What the hell?
Yeah, that was my first note too. That's perfect.
Yeah. Later in the match, there's a perfect timing spot with that the Jetters try to do to Drilla through a table on the floor, but Kushida ends up getting tossed over the barricade, and Knight gets taken out. They angle a table at ringside, and Drilla picks up Kushida, runs to the table, jumps to go and land on it, but kicks it forward. Drilla killing Kushida straight into the floor.
Yeah, that was I kind of like, because it still looked great. The Drilla Killer is a devastating move, one of the most devastating in New Japan this year. He took care of a lot of people with that move. But yeah, when he was running in, he just kind of booted the chair, even though Connors was holding it. He booted the chair with enough force the table, that when it was slanted like this, it just ended up back straight against the barricade. I kind of wish that the camera was anywhere but where it was, because it still would have looked great. But seeing that, and you can see a bit of disappointment on the face of Drilla, I was like, I wanted to go through the table.
And if you look
at
when they replayed it, they replayed it from behind Drilla, and it looked like he murdered him. Like he just went right, he just smacked him on the table and then fell over, and the table didn't break. It was
just the initial showing. It was just like, damn it.
TJP
real quick, just before, so I want to try to keep this shorter, try to throw my spots in between, because we always have the similar spots.
Yeah,
similar spots. I think it was a Jeep flip that Connor did when he was similar spot with Knight and Kushida. Or sorry, with Knight, Kushida, and Eagles, where he did the splash with the ladder. Knight running into the United Empire, Akira and TJP holding the ladder, doing that Jeep flip, kind of just run into it and just yeeting the two guys across with the ladder. It was also very, very cool.
Yeah. TJP stops a full clip through the table to Akira through the table. They take out Connors. Drilla gets put on the table, and TJP gets Akira on his shoulders for the take a picture. Electric senton off of the apron, off of TJP's shoulders through Drilla on a table on the floor. That looked painful.
Yeah. There was so much going on.
At this point, they're only 5 minutes in.
Yeah. Also want to note TJP has some really cool face paint on under his cool little electronic entry thing. I think leaning more into his Aswan character and the leader kind of status there. And I also really appreciate how Akira and TJP, they were wearing gear very, very similar to each other, as they always do, but they had those subtle differences that made the gear just them. I really, really liked how they looked. Very cohesive. Continue.
Yeah. Knight sets up a big ass ladder, and they puts another ladder between the ladder and the ropes. Connors ends up getting put on the prone ladder, and Eagles comes out of nowhere with a springboard 450 to Connors on the ladder. I'm like, oh god. Another big spot where the two ladders are set up. Akira and Fujita are climbing up, and TJP climbs up under Fujita, gets him on his shoulders, climbs back down, walks around, and Akira comes off the ladder, hitting leaning tower to Fujita. Great spot.
Yep. Perfect.
Yeah. There's a spot where TJP missed Eagles when they're up top and hits at the final cut off of the top of the ladder through that prone ladder, breaking it at this point. Knight comes off the top of the ladder to hit this really rough-looking, perfect timing onto Drilla's legs.
Yeah, and like again, I wish the camera angle was anywhere but, because despite getting Drilla's feet, it looked underwhelming from the camera angle that we had. When they showed it from a lower level, it looked better.
Because it was at a different angle, not right on the spot, and it was perfection.
Yeah.
It was perfection from the other angle. It's crazy. There's submissions in the ladders. There's an ankle lock in the ladder. There's Eagles getting getting his Romero special in the ladder, or his Ron Miller special in the ladder. Sorry, it just
also all this time Drilla Moloney is trapped under said ladder. That point is important.
Yeah, so and then Knight starts climbing up the ladder after everybody's fallen off, and Drilla just lifts the ladder up from underneath and just tosses Knight off the ladder to the floor. Just crazy shit.
Crazy strength. That's how you get abs in your back.
Drilla and TJP are up. They're fighting. TJP knocks Drilla off. Eagles comes up. He's fighting with TJP. Fujita and Akira then come up put a ladder beside them, climb up. They're all up top. They're all brawling. Was it Eagles kicks TJP off the top? Akira kicks Eagles off the top. They fight over the ladder. Fujita ties Akira's feet into the ladder, pulls him over, holding him down, and pulls down the tag titles. And the Ichiban Sweet Boys are your tag team champions. I called it.
Yeah, I know. Here's the thing, though. It ceases the importance. I mean, the tournament itself ceased the importance of it, but it ceases the importance of the tag league trophies. I personally would have liked my story better, where someone else, these motherfuckers, won the title, and then TMDK said, all right, but we won, and we want our one-on-one match, which we are entitled to. Because now this is just a very convoluted and just not awesome end of the year. Because the two most major tag team tournaments that were supposed to happen to this company had absolutely no meaning. Which is disappointing.
I've been saying this for a couple months now.
Yes, I know. Well, you started saying it. I agree with you. But at the end of the year here, this kind of ending with this match, that kind of ends that story. It's kind of them just kind of going, we're good, we're done with this. But it's like, that's I'm sorry, that's some RCW shit. That's some, dementia level amnesia forgetfulness that New Japan is not known for. We don't do that here, kind of thing. So I mean, I'm not mad about it. Not overly as happy as you are about it, but I'm not mad about it. Because in this situation, there was no wrong answer.
No.
But this side of the picture were, as I mentioned to you before coming on here, the two teams that held up this division for the entire year, not just the end of it, like the ones you're pointing to.
They deserve it because they won the tag league. They deserve this title.
What they deserve is a one-on-one match with the other people who had the titles so that they can appropriately show off everything that they have been doing this year. And I don't feel that they
100%
got
agree.
this in this match. I felt because they knew the results of this match that the team that won it didn't get as much clout or show in it as they should have, considering they won it. They gave these guys and jet setters quite a lot in this one. But you can note when we're going through it, there's not a lot of stuff where the TMDK guys are doing this stuff. They're taking a lot of it, but there wasn't a ton of spots where we said they did a lot of it, except at the end there where they were doing the tremendous technicality on the ladders. But again, I personally would have liked to see these guys not win and then boast a singles match, or sorry, a tag match, which essentially would be a singles match between the two teams, to be able to allow them to show off why even more they deserve those titles. Plus, it would extend the story a little bit more, which Japan is hurting for badly.
I honestly, because they still have the trophies, they can be like, well, we get a tag title match. They could have waved it around, but now their tag title match goes out the window. So because they're the champs now. So we move on. And my boys holding the belts. There we go. So we move on. IWGP Women's Championship match: Mayu Iwatani versus Azumi. Momo Watanabe at ringside on Japanese commentary. She will be competing tomorrow night in the International Women's Cup 4-Way, with the winner getting a shot at any of the championships in any of the 4 promotions they so choose. Yeah. I don't know if I heard the name right, but it's a Stardom ref. Bars Sasaki is the referee assigned to this match, I think is what
he's the one who the crowd really, really likes over there.
Oh yeah, but I'm just saying I don't know his. I heard Sasaki, but I think they said Bars. I'm like, that's a cool name, I guess. Lots of brawling at the start. Mayu spin kick. They're going back and forth. Each not quite high speed, but closer to high speed. It's like a brawling, like a heavy moves high speed. I guess everybody hitting bigger, more solid moves. Mayu ends up rolling to the outside at one point. Azumi runs up, climbing up the corner, and dives over the corner post to Mayu Iwatani on the floor. There's an out of the corner. Just really good back and forth with these two. Mayu hits a super kick, hops up to the top, but her foot gets kicked out from under her. Azumi hops up to the top, and Triavo stomps her, which looked just phenomenal. Azumi back to the top, and she hits the coup de grace, but only gets 2. They're both trading kicks. Azumi hits this beautiful looking roundhouse. Mayu responds with a super kick. They both go down. Just crazy shit here. So Mayu gets drop kick in the corner. She goes to the top, hits a missile drop kick, goes back up, misses the moonsault, and Azumi hits a spin kick to the face. Now we hit 5 minutes. This is nuts. The Canadian Destroyer gets reversed into the 2-step Dragon Suplex, which gets reversed back into a Canadian Destroyer. Azumi then hits the Tiger Driver Canadian Destroyer because she underhooked the arms and did another Canadian Destroyer. So the Tiger Driver variation of it. But Mayu kicks out a 2.9. Again, Azumi goes to the coup de grace again, but Azumi up kicks her, and you can actually see Azumi's mouth start bleeding.
Oh, sorry, Mayu. You said Azumi 3 times in that sentence.
Oh, sorry. Azumi up to the top, but as she comes off her coup de grace, Mayu up kicks her in the face.
There you go.
And Azumi's mouth starts bleeding.
Yeah.
Crazy shit. Zumi Sushi. They're going back and forth with kicks and Germans and Mayu wanting that 2-step dragon, but Azumi rolls her up for 2. Mayu stops the Mystica into a tombstone pile driver. She goes to the top, hits the moonsault, but Azumi kicks out at like 2.999. She then picks up Azumi, 2-step dragon suplex, and Mayu Iwatani retains the championship. in the shortest
Okay.
match of the night.
Which was crazy because like this was the one match that unapologetically had my attention from start to finish. I just enjoyed it. I
Me
didn't
too.
take a whole ton of notes. So the only thing I have to say on this, okay, a few things. I call it the Neo Kitty. The Neo Kitty entrance gear that Asumi had for this show was just so cool with the neon lights and the ears. And I love her new gear and her new aesthetic since joining Neo Genesis.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, that big dive that she hit to the outside, Azumi, was freaking phenomenal. So good. She's so tiny, but she's so aerial. She just flies. I also agree that the beginning felt very not high speed. They kind of worked their way up slowly into it, but overall, I felt like they never quite hit that high speed point, but they didn't need to. I felt that everything that they did filled the time perfectly. They were able to. I felt if they did too much more, that it would have been too much. It would have felt like a disingenuous match, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Last thing I wanted to say was, what was that thing that she did? Was it the Tiger Driver that you thought? She kind of did this like flipping pile driver thing. Was that the Canadian Destroyer?
Well, the Canadian Destroyer, and then she went for it again, but double underhooked the arms and did a Canadian Destroyer with the pedigree style or whatever you want to call it. Like she
Yeah,
double
yeah,
under
yeah.
arms for the second Canadian Destroyer. I was like,
Because she kind
okay,
of did that little hippity hop thing over top of it. Yeah. It
yeah.
was crazy unique,
Mm-hmm.
crazy different. And this is why I love Stardom Wrestling. They're going to hit you hard, and they make up for like the fact that they're very very petite looking women by hitting you like a brick shithouse and doing some really cool shit.
Yep,
I'm very happy about this. I am not terribly happy about the result though, because
me either.
when I was listening to the commentary, I think they said that she's only had like 8 defenses,
This
which
was
is
number
pretty
9.
cool. Yeah. So it's like, that being said, I know there's not a lot of big shows, but there's other big shows that are happening in other companies that this company is partnered with.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, maybe it's just because like Mercedes Monet is really womp 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 in your face about her title run, which I love and appreciate because it brings attention
Mm-hmm.
to the professional wrestling and eventually stardom. Um, but I don't know. I feel like they're not putting as much effort into the IWGP Women's Championship as much as they are the New Japan Strong Women's Championship.
Yeah,
Like,
I would agree with that.
I don't feel that it's Mayu's fault, but I feel that a refresher would probably benefit the title.
Yep, I agree with you fully. I think this is the time to pull the trigger on Azumi being champion, but I guess not.
Maybe next time.
Maybe next time.
Maybe not.
Anyways, the champion still retains. And we move on. 4-way match for the NJPW World Television Championship. Sold out Ren Narita defending his championship against the headbanger El Fantasma, the Imperial Unit Jeff Cobb, and the Grip Ryo Oiwa. Again,
Love that they're
everybody's
bringing those names back. I think I've said it before and I mentioned it to you before, but I love the secondary name. The sold out, the headbanger, the grip's a little weird. Kind of like that one's gonna take a while to grow on me.
just like the Gene Blast.
That-
The Gene Blast.
yeah,
I still don't like that one.
yeah.
I still don't like Gene Blast.
Well, because it literally is just another word for ejaculation, right?
I literally just realized they need to be a tag team. The Grip and the Gene Blast just makes
Oh,
perfect
sweet
sense.
baby Jesus. Oh, why am I friends with you?
Because you love me. Um, big crazy shit to start. ELP gets a Tope Suicida on Narita during before the match even starts. Everybody's fighting back and forth. Just everybody taking each other out over and over because
Mhm.
again, everybody's trying to think. Oiwa does a teardrop suplex and Narita sending him to the floor. Then ELP runs Oiwa to the floor. ELP goes for the dive, but gets caught by ELP. He goes for the tour of the islands, but ELP rolls him up for 2, and then ELP grabs the hand, goes for the rope walk, but Cobb pulls his hand away and punches ELP, knocking him onto the two on the floor. Like
Perfect.
coffin
Perfect
drop style.
timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you see Jeff Cobb look. He smiles. And he's like, oh, and he starts running, hits the other side of the rope, comes back, and launches over the top for one of the biggest Tope Con Helos I have ever seen. It is not fair that this man can wrestle the way he does, can do moonsaults, and can do Tope Con Helos.
Yeah.
The
It's
moonsault was
not
one thing.
fair. Yeah.
The
Right?
moonsault was
I
one
could
thing.
suffer that insult. I could suffer that. But a Tope Con Hilo. And he landed it. He stuck the landing and pretty much ta-da!
Mm-hmm.
Gymnastics, ta-da! To the crowd. It was freaking phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, more brawling of all the people in here. Narita at one point, like after he takes people out, gets the push-up bar, but Jado takes it away from him. He gets attacked by all three, gets hit with sudden death. The other three are brawling. ELP gets sudden death to Oiwa. ELP gets Scott springboarding. Cobb hits the beautiful F5000, but Oiwa breaks that pin. Oiwa misses the grip, but he ends up hitting a regular lariat to Cobb, and he tries to lift him. Can't. Tries to lift him again, but lifts him on the third try for the Dr. Bomb, but Narita pulls the ref out because this guy's a jerk. Narita comes in with the push-up bar, misses, and Oiwa tries to go for the grip, but he does get hit by the push-up bar. Cobb then catches the bar that's swung at him, and he breaks it over his knee. Goodbye, push-up bar. I never have to see you again. Get a better
Until
weapon.
he goes to a thrift shop and gets another one.
Just get a better weapon. Narita goes for a double cross. As he jumps, he's caught and flipped into a tour of the islands. 1, 2, off the springboard with the swanton is ELP breaking up the pin. Then over the top, hits a plancha to Oiwa on the floor to take him out, and then comes back up, springboard into Thunder Kiss 86 on Ren Narita for the win.
Yeah, buddy. I'm happy with this. I predicted Cobb for this one, but I'm happy for this. Really happy.
My original prediction was Oiwa, but when I put my Instagram prediction thing out yesterday, I did circle ELP to win because he's a can't because I made the prediction before he was added to the match. So,
that's fair. That's fair. I liked how these guys, all four of these guys, just flowed so effortlessly together. At no point in time was I worried in this match for anyone's safety, for the story, for someone being pinned. This match was a great roller coaster. I expected it to be good, but I feel that like ELP was like the cherry on top that made this match the absolute perfection that I felt that it was. Talked about that. There was that one point where in the corner confusion, as I wrote down, where Cobb ended up power bombing Oiwa, who was suplexing ELP off the top rope there. That was just again crazy
the Tower
spot
Doom was
there.
great. That Tower Doom was great.
But like not only the wrestling was great in that moment because we've been shitting a little on production placement up until this point, but that spot was absolute perfection because they went over, they switched camera views for the landing, and the camera that caught the landing did the earthquake shake and then focused immediately on ELP's face, who's selling the ever living hell out of it. Everything about that moment in this match, I was like, this is why I watch wrestling. That moment right there was so perfect from start to finish for everything that I needed it to be. I loved it. Sudden Death by ELP Onawiwa was heavy. That was the one that I actually wrote down. Yeah, when it looked really stiff. Um, Springboard Crossbody, Dr. Bomb. Okay, after like when the push-up bar, after it came into play, did you notice the bruise on Owiwa's face?
He got caught.
Right under his chin, from the tip of his chin to the back of the jaw, the whole thing was very purple. He got nailed. These are the risks of the job, but man, he still kept going. Yeah, this was a really fun, very impressive match. I actually expected to not really enjoy this match. I expected there to be a lot more shenanigans than there were. I am so happy that there wasn't, because it made this match so enjoyable. It was the perfect combination of like heels and faces.
Yeah, I agree. From this match, we go to a shenanigan match. Oh boy.
I have one note on this.
I'm not really going to talk too much in this. Lumberjack death match, Hirooki Tanahashi versus Evil. Evil actually getting a kind of cool entrance with this like keyboardist all shrouded in dark, playing the intro to his theme. Then his theme kicks in over the loudspeaker. I thought it was really cool. He's out with his Lumberjacks, Yujiro, Sho, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, and the Little Dick. Then the Ace rolls out and is looking fly as always. Out with Team Ace or Team Tanahashi, whatever you want to call them, Master Wato, Boltin, Oleg, Toriano. Not surprised with those two because those are his tag team partners as the 6-man champs, and Tiger Mask. Yeah, not surprising.
So Team Hantai Chaos.
Team Ace.
Team Hantai Chaos.
Yeah, Team Ace. Again, this match was everything you expect it to be. Lots of bullshit. These guys are getting tossed out. House of Torch attacking Tanahashi a bunch. Evil's biting the leg of Tanahashi at one point to keep him, like when he tried to skin the cat back in.
Yeah, he bit his calf. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah. They spray paint Watto's chest with which HOT, and it didn't even look right. It just looked like a bunch of scribbles. I didn't realize it was until later.
I thought it was Japanese font.
Yeah, it was supposed to be HOT.
Didn't know what was happening.
I just thought I thought it was some kind of, but it's supposed to say HOT, but I don't know.
It's their second language. We'll let it go.
Evil does the home run spot with a chair around Tana's neck, like hitting to the fences. The ref gets beat up. We get addicted at contact. Team Ace tries to take out.
The ref, in his defense, he got beat up from the one note that I actually took, which was Sakamoto actually getting involved when Evil was grabbing onto him. He was trying to Tanahashi was trying to do something to Evil. Evil grabs Sakamoto, and Sakamoto goes, "Fuck this shit," and he cuffed Evil.
Oh, yeah.
And Tana fed him into a sling blade, I think it was, after that point. Yeah, that was why the ref got taken out, because the ref laid hands on Evil and House of Torture took offense.
Yeah, Kenta Sato eventually takes over as the ref in this match. We get Tana hits and everything is Ace in this match. Falls in with a dragon suplex on a sling blade, only gets 2. He gets Ace's high. He goes up, but the ref gets pushed into the ropes, which crotches Tanahashi. Powder gets thrown in his face. Evil gets a superplex. Darkness falls, only gets 2. Darkness Scorpion, but Evil eventually breaks the hold because Tana won't submit. Again, there's so much bullshit in this match. End of this, Evil lariats Tanahashi. Tanahashi slaps him. Evil hits another lariat, picks him up. Everything is Evil. And I literally go, you're not ending this here, seriously. But Tanahashi immediately small packages him for the win. Yeah. And then it's not over, because House of Torture immediately rushed the ring. And they all brawl. And Team Ace is in there. And Togo goes for the garrote. But a hooded figure enters the ring, chasing off House of Torture. It is revealed to be the return of Katsuyori Shibata. I honestly didn't know if he would actually get to show up here or not because there was some bad blood when he left. But he's back.
I mean, yes, there was. There was some bad blood, but the president wasn't this president, was it?
Mm-hmm.
It
True.
was a different presidente. Which is why when people ask me, do I ever think I'll see Kota Ibushi back in New Japan
Oh,
Wrestling,
100%.
I say absolutely. Because it's not the same people. It's like the same people. I feel like there's a bigger chance of seeing someone like Mercedes Moné back in WWE, even though I know a lot of people don't want that. There's a better chance of seeing her back in there now that the dementia era
Mm-hmm.
seems to be long past and that there's someone there who would actually value her. So yeah, I like this, and yeah, tell us what it's set up.
So Shibata helps Tanahashi up. He asks for a mic and he says, "If you're not tired, how about we have a match tomorrow?" And Tanahashi
Mm,
says, "I've never been tired. Let's do this." So it's official. There's Tanahashi versus Katsuyori Shibata.
yay! This will be fun,
Yes,
especially
it will be.
given the last time, like I saw Shibata was against Tommy Billington. That was a great match. Katsuyori Shibata looked exactly as he did before his injury. So this will be great.
Yeah. Anything else?
No,
All right.
torture.
Match of the night is up next, or one of the two potential match of the nights is up next. The Tokyo Terror, and one of the matches later have all entered my list for match of the year.
Oh,
Very early list.
mm,
International Championship and the Never Openweight Championship are on the line. Shingo Takagi versus Konosuke Takeshita, with the man returning to Japan, Don Callis. I promise it's the last time I'll talk about him. This was two hosses just smacking the piss out of each other, just running into each other. Takeshita hitting that flying shoulder block to drop Takagi. Takagi fighting back with a hip toss and a shoulder block, dropping Takeshita. Just man, the elbow strikes from Takeshita, the freaking lariats from Shingo Takagi, they're just beating on each other. The spot where
mm,
they end up on like Takagi's on the floor, he dodges the plancha, yanks Konosuke Takeshita off the apron, and DVDs him on the floor. Is it definitely
mm,
driver on the floor? Oh,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
yeah, that was
The
brutal.
audacity, though, of Takeshita to interrupt the the
Oh
first
yeah,
time.
he did. He did.
Paid
Uh,
for that though.
there's so many spots in here. Takagi goes for a made in Japan after he does the fire up spot, but Takagi reverses into an exploder. But then, he stops made in Japan, but then Takagi hits an exploder. But Takeshita comes back with a German. Takagi comes back with a backdrop, and Takeshita comes back with a German, and both men are just laying out like, like it just. And then they do this great shot at ringside of both titles with the man, Tomohiro Ishii, sitting behind them. Doesn't have a
Mm,
headset on. He's just sitting there watching. And
mhm,
he's
mhm,
just, it's like, I'm waiting for one of you. It was a great spot, man.
mhm,
Um,
mhm,
yeah. There's a great spot where Takeshita hits a lariat, falls it with a bastard driver, and then falls right through into his wheelbarrow suplex. He lines up for that running knee strike, but Takagi comes out of nowhere, just lariating his head off. Both men are down. Just so good.
mhm,
Uh, Takagi hits an elbow and then hits this like a made in Japan, but he only gets two. Like dropping Takeshita on his head with it. Like brutal.
mhm,
Um, they're lariating each other. Takeshita hits us, goes for the flying Juni Akiyama style knee, but kind of only gets a glancing version of it, like because it kind of got half blocked. Um, he does get Takagi up on the top rope and runs him off the top. He hits the knee, but Takagi comes back, kicks out at one, hits a blue thunder bomb, but Takeshita gets at a 2. Takagi does get a modified version of Last of the Dragon, but wasn't complete, and he doesn't capitalize on the pin here, which I was like, oh, goddamn. Takagi, they're hitting lariats, trying to drop Takeshita, but because he hits the boot, Poison Rana, but then Takagi coming back with his own Poison Rana. I was like,
Mhm.
and he gets up, hits a shotgun. Takeshita, Takeshita back up, hits his elbow drop to the back of Takagi's head. Just like, oh god, that scared me a little with the crack that you heard off of it. The end comes. Takeshita hits the elbow, but Takagi comes back with elbows and a headbutt, but Takeshi hits the knee, but then Takagi hits a pumping bomber. Takeshita gets a hard elbow, only gets 2, so then he lifts Takagi, Raging Fire for the win.
Mhm.
This was good.
I just watched this. I didn't take any notes. It was so freaking good. So freaking good. Just when I thought that Tsuji and Takeshita couldn't get any better, you give me Takagi and Takeshita. I mean, obviously, I'm disappointed with the loss because that means one of the 2 worst things that I thought could happen to that title is going to happen. One of which is that it's going to be kidnapped by an AEW person, and despite Takeshita clearly seeing the value of wrestling in Japan, it doesn't mean that Don Callis is going to translate that to the powers that be, that the Never title needs to be here. So, and especially when we don't get the IWGP Women's Championship regularly, we don't get the New Japan Strong Women's Champion being defended regularly. It does very much sometimes seem that when AEW people get a hold of a New Japan belt, it just kind of disappears for a while. It's like if we don't want to have to actually care about a title for a bit, you put it on someone in AEW and they go away and they just hold it on TV every couple of weeks or maybe on ROH. And then we eventually see it back like 4 or 5 months later when they decide that they don't want it anymore and it's lost enough value. Or it goes on Tomohiro Ishii. I love Ishii, but I don't feel that he's a person to carry a title anymore because I don't know what he's going to do with it. All he's going to do is defend it. And that's not a problem, but he doesn't have somebody to really talk for him in the meantime, I'm concerned about the future of this title. I don't want it to become the hot potato title just because we've lost the KOPW one now.
And the other factor is I don't see Ishii winning tomorrow is the fact that the AEW title is on the line again tomorrow. So Takeshi ain't dropping that tomorrow.
If we lose a title because of your bald-headed boy there, I'm not going to be happy.
Don't blame Don. Blame Tony. Don't blame Don. Blame Khan.
I blame both of them because I guarantee you Don is the translator and business maker in which I know Takeshita can talk, but I know that he's probably not as fluent in business aspects as Don is. So Don is obviously a mouthpiece for him in more ways than one, and not just as a loudmouth manager at ringside. I bet you he's a business guy for him too. I really hope again that they see the value in sending him over here and defending this title and it's AEW one, because let's be honest, AEW kind of needs the marketing too. They should be filling those stadiums. So maybe Takeshita can be the one to do it for him.
Hopefully.
But I don't want to have to sacrifice our titles to do it.
Yeah, I agree. We move on. IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship match is Doki defending against El Desperado. Doki has an entrance with this weird long-haired guy who's all
I
dressed in
think they
white.
said he was like a demon of some kind or some kind of spirit. Japanese folklore spirit. I don't know. It looked really, I thought it was cool. Looked like he had freaking
I was very
headband.
confused. I was very confused. I thought it was Doki at first, and then
I
Doki
did
appeared. I
too,
was
and I
like,
was like, why
"What?"
isn't he wearing shoes?
I was so confused. They did say that the 11 of the last 13 title defenses of this title at Wrestle Kingdom have been title changes, so the odds do not favor the champion in this match. And the last person to successfully defend was El Desperado. Quick start. They're flying around. Despy avoids the Tope Suicida. Doki then eventually does knock Desperado off the apron, hits the Tope Suicida. They're fighting around the outside. Doki hits this rocket-like Tope Suicida. Despy hits to Doki on the floor after he ran him into the barricade. And he hits the barricade with his legs, and I was scared that he just Eddie Kingston himself, but he didn't. Thank God.
Yeah.
They brawl around. They both get back in at Mel's not least favorite number, 16. They're smacking each other really hard. Doki hits an enziguri. Desperado reverses a whip into a spine buster. Doki pulls a Doki Choki. Doki Choki. But Desperado reverses into the cloverleaf. But Doki does get to the ropes. Daybreak is caught at one point, but Doki reverses the suplex and Rana's Despy to the floor. Desperado does the dive, but Doki goes to the top and he hits the Doki bomb to the floor and dislocates his elbow.
Yeah. As soon as he landed, I was like, no, not the wiggle. He wiggled. When you land as an athlete, there's that moment where when you go completely rigid and stiff, you're either going to catch yourself and it's just going to stay there, or you get this little wiggle, this little tiny wiggle. And as soon as he wiggled, there was no way to go, and the bone just went out.
Yeah. So the referee calls an end to this match essentially by forfeit due to injury. And El Desperado is your new junior heavyweight singles champion. So he gets the mic. He says, Doki, when you go as hard as you do, these things happen. I will not apologize to say I'm sorry, as this is what happens when you put your all in. We will do this again. And then he tells the crowd, so let's fire it up for the rest of the evening. I really hope Doki is okay. I know from what Post Wrestling is reporting, it is a dislocated elbow. It's a dislocation. I don't know if it's I'm pretty sure it's elbow, because where it looked out, it looked in the elbow.
Where it landed, yeah. Just where he landed and the way it kind of, from where it looked like it jimmied, that's what it looks like. As someone who has dislocated my elbow myself and also put it back in myself, it's not a pleasant experience. It does take a couple months to kind of recover from fully with constant treatment and stuff. I don't suspect he'll be out as long as Yo was, but I'm a little disappointed, not because of the injury, but now that I'm seeing a consistency in this title. Is this title cursed?
Might be.
Because it always seems to be those left arms that are just a problem. Because wasn't it Yo's left shoulder? Blah, 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 blah. Wasn't it Yo's left shoulder that popped out in his match with Sho for the same title?
I don't remember.
Pretty sure it was his left one. No bueno, because this match was really starting to kick up. This is so good. You could tell there was some animosity going on here. There was intensity. They were fighting so hard. And then it just ended. And I found myself wanting more. It was sad. But obviously, well wishes go out to Doki. We want you back.
Yep.
And your Doki Choki.
We move on. IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship match. It is the Boss Dog, David Finlay, with Goto, taking on the Gene Blast, Yota Tsuji. Tsuji out here looking like Carmen Sandiego. I'm sorry, the hat. That was the hat. There's the freaking hat.
I can't even. I can't deny it. I can't deny it because I thought the same thing.
Finlay coming out, taking a page out of one Mr. Carl Anderson's playbook, but he actually has a real chain gun and he fires it across.
Yeah, yeah. The comments I was seeing the most online about it was very Duke Nukem of him.
Yes, the Duke Nukem style gun. Like it's
Yeah.
just a big, outrageous looking gun. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It was perfect. It was
Um,
perfect. And then also the accenting on his coat. Did you see the belt and everything were like
mm,
bullet chains?
yep.
So cool. So freaking cool. Anyway.
Yeah. Again, these two just start beating the piss out of each other,
Hmm.
going back and forth. Finlay is fighting, but he gets caught with a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker at one point. Tsuji gets the tope suicida to Finlay on the floor, goes for it, but Finlay catches him and runs him into the barricade. Um, Tsuji avoids getting run to the post, but Finlay smashes him into the barricade again. That just looked rough as hell.
Yeah.
Finlay does get a back barricade in the ring and attacking Tsuji. There's so much fighting in here. There's a salmon splash from Tsuji at one point. Love that. Tsuji ends up running Finlay to the floor, hits the Fosbury flop over the top to Finlay on the floor. That was just beauty.
So good.
They're fighting around at ringside at one point. They end up in the announcers area. Finlay clears the table, hits an Irish curse through the table.
Hmm.
But Tsuji does make it back in at Mel's favorite number, 19.
Did he? I thought it was 18.
No, it was 19. I heard the 19
Damn
count,
it.
so I laughed. I'm like, haha, I can write it down.
Rude. Rude.
It's 18, I don't care. If it's like 16 or 15, I can say it's not your least favorite number, and 19 is your favorite.
Do some cardio. Move faster.
So Finlay gets in control. He hits a suplex immediately, gets an elbow in the corner, but Tsuji comes right back, suplexing Finlay into the corner. Uh, uh, Tsuji gets Finlay up at the top. He gets knocked off. He comes back up with an enziguri, goes up, goes for the Rana, but gets power bombed off the top for two. Then
Hmm.
Finlay does one of the most impressive feats I've seen him do. He just lifts him up, Dominator, lifts him up, second Dominator, lifts him up, third Dominator, but only gets two. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
These two just, again, there's an overkill attempt. Tsuji ends up rolling him up. Just so many good stuff. The knee strikes in here. The Marlow crash misses. Finlay hits a power bomb, then a buckle bomb, then another power
Mhm.
bomb into a jackknife pin. But Tsuji kicking out like 2.9999. Tsuji does finally get the Rana into the corner and the running knee to the face. Hits Marlow crash, but only gets two. Great reversal of the Gene Blaster here into a cutter by Finlay. Just
Mhm.
great spot. And then he hits Trash Bandit into Oblivion, but he only gets two. The overkill gets stopped. Finlay gets his own Gene Blaster. Overkills, reverse into a stunner. Tsuji hits a Gene Blaster, but Finlay gets a foot in the ropes. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, this is just perfection. So the finish comes. Tsuji with these big strikes. Finlay responding. Tsuji hits a headbutt. He hits the dropping him. He hits the curb stomp. Lines up a Gene Blaster, but gets caught into like a gator roll. And Finlay lifts up, hits overkill, but only gets two. And the announcer saying this might be the first time somebody's kicked out of overkill because this has been a very protective move for David
Mhm.
Finlay. People kick out of Trash Panda into Oblivion and everything else, but this move has been protected,
Mhm.
which is kind of perfect for a big match like this. For somebody to finally get that kick out means something here. Unlike an Os Cutter, that's my fun. I love him, but he does. Everybody kicks out of that now. Finlay gets a black slide, lifts him and rolls it through and lifts him up, goes for overkill, but the knee gets caught. Tsuji gets a pop up into a knee, hits the power bomb, 3-point stance. Gene Blaster. And we have a new global heavyweight champion in Yota Tsuji.
Told you.
I called him too.
Told you.
Yeah, this was awesome.
Hmm. Uh-huh. This was also, aesthetically speaking, my favorite gear from David Finlay. The
Yeah.
camo and black accents with the War Dog logo.
Mm-hmm.
It was so cool. Perfect evolution gear for him. Um, I love that little sequence that Suji does with the hook, the pull down, and then the curb stomp. That's just the 1, 2, 3, boom. I love it. You know what I'm talking about, right? That you made a confused face.
It's the back. No, I was looking at something else on my screen. Sorry, I was scrolling to find something, but I was listening to you because where he hits the backbreaker, slams him face first down, and then stomps his head into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Finlay avoiding Tsuji's first tope and then tossing him into the apron was really cool. Just because it wasn't so perfect as it would have been, for example, for someone like Jeff Cobb, who would have just perfectly caught him and just yeet. There was a little bit of a struggle and a runaround where everything just looked so perfectly natural, organic in the moment. It worked out really, really nicely. Um, Backbreakers by Finlay. I'm really noticing that seems to be his go-to, just in general, just backbreakers in general that he does are so vicious and so mean and just so good. I really enjoy watching them. Okay, Salmon Splash, the Try Dominator and then the Try Bomb kind of thing. Noticing that Finlay really likes those threes.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of does things in threes now, and I'm kind of digging it because if the first one doesn't work, if the second one doesn't work, then the third one hypothetically should. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case when it came to Tsuji. I love how Finley's character work has evolved, especially in the last half of this year, even though he was absent for a chunk of it. Because he went from being someone who he would sell in the ring, but he wasn't selling so much. He wouldn't be showing any kind of desperation or any kind. He's the only emotion he would kind of show is that bragging, that arrogance, where he's in the corner flipping off the crowd. I'm the best, like all this kind of stuff. We saw Finlay start to get frustrated, starting to scream a little bit more. I don't know if it's because Tsuji tends to be a bit of a screamer and yell a lot and all that kind of stuff. But I felt that we saw a little bit of character development and frustration coming out in David Finlay in this match as it was starting to wind down. Maybe a little bit of desperation that he might know that he might not be able to kind of contend with this monster that is Tsuji. And in the end, unfortunately, he wasn't able to pick up that win. I'm not mad about this, obviously, because I called it. And I think that this is a great opportunity for Finlay to kind of regroup because he had this title for a very long time. This title was pretty much made for him. And though there was some, we'll call it muddling in the couple months after this when he dropped it to Nick Nemeth, got it back. Yeah, I really do feel that this year coming up is going to be a year where we see David Finlay really batten down the hatches on the Bullet Club and start to make a bit more of a push throughout the world and not just in Japan. But selfishly, I hope that the focus is Japan.
What I really hope for David Finlay this year is he's going to be a guy that can work with Zack Sabre Jr. on a couple of the big shows to really help cement Sabre through the year so that Tsuji can be the guy you build up and give him the G1 so he is the one taking the title from Sabre at Wrestle Kingdom next year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Big dreams, big dreams.
Again, I just think it'd be really cool to see Tsuji kind of have the year built and you can use Finlay in a really good spot because he's over as hell as a heel. And he can be a good guy to work with Sabre this year as one of the challengers throughout the year, maybe even a couple times this year.
Well, Bullet Club is one of it's the only big kind of heel something in Japan right now, much like Hate is in Stardom. So, yeah, absolutely. You got a lot of really good heel guys to work with, but David Finlay, I think, stands to gain the most from it, as well as Tsuji in something like that. We just need to hope that they can get someone who can help translate that story. Because Gato's been doing all right, but it's very obvious that there's some stretched thinness happening in certain areas that could use some improvement.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So we move on to the match that underwhelmed me the most this evening. other than the Evil and Tanahashi match, because I didn't expect anything from that match. And I really thought, thinking about it, listening to other shows, this match would have been great a few years ago when it was supposed to happen, but COVID and them not
Yay.
pulling the trigger for another 4 years hurt this match because Naito is that much 4 years older, 4 years more hurt, 4 years more macularly degenerated. Imagine what this match would have been in 2020.
Yeah.
And that's what hurts the most, right? Because this was supposed to be the anniversary show match, but it got taken
Mhm.
away from us because of COVID. And just waiting for so long. Again, I thought this match was good. It was a good match.
Mhm.
And like Hiromu like having to fight up from under throughout the match, like really Naito really controlling early on.
Mhm.
Hiromu fighting back, getting his dynamite plunger at one point. This is where the match really kind of got more to the favor of Hiromu. Got the
Mhm.
time bomb. Again, lots of working back and forth. Naito reversing the time bomb at one point into Destino was actually a really good reversal. I like that.
Mhm.
Naito starts working over the neck, hits that Esperanza off the second rope, that flip DDT, and really
Mhm.
just looks gross but awesome at the same time.
Mhm.
He does hit a Destino, but only gets two. Hits another Destino, or goes for another Destino, gets reversed into Time Bomb for two. Again, there's good stuff here. Like Time Bomb 2 gets
Mhm.
reversed. Naito was working over the neck. Hits the Enziguri. The Destino's reversed into a Roma roll. And I'm like, oh, please God, let it be over right here. But no, because he won so many matches with that. Hiroma gets a shotgun drop kick. Or and he hits his own Destino, picks him up, hits Time Bomb 2, which is his ultimate finish. But Naito kicks out, and I'm like, oh my God, what? No. I'm like, I was kind of mad at this point. Um, Fighting back and forth. Naito catches him with a spine buster and gets another Destino for two. Um, Naito ends up slamming Hiroma, goes to go up, but Hiroma grabs the leg, not letting him go up for the start. I think he was going for Stardust Press. Um, movie doesn't hit much anymore. Um, Naito picks him up, slaps him, hits Valencia, and then picks him up. One more Destino for the win. And I am very disappointed by the end of this match. It was a good match, as I said. This should have been Hiromu taking over, becoming the new
Mhm.
leader of the team for the guy who's has already taken a step back
Mhm.
and become the new star of the heavyweight division, but he's still the little brother in the end.
And something also that they kept mentioning on commentary was that Hiromu was very close to like losing his job in New Japan. Naito took a chance on him and stuff. It's like they were really kind of playing it on commentary too, like Hiromu was going to pick up a win here. And to be honest, based on how Japanese kind of their sentimentality is very different than ours. Like when we retire somebody, it's typically a young guy taking on the old guy retiring, and here the young guy falls because the old guy gets one last hoorah before retiring, right? Whereas in Japan, they kind of have the mentality of the guy's not continuing to wrestle because he's capable. The guy is retiring because now the young generation is taking over. So we saw this like with Liger and Hiromu, where Hiromu retired Jushin Thunder Liger, and in a winning, battle for Hiromu there. So like, what does this ending tell us? I'm not entirely sure yet. For me, this wasn't really an option because this leaves a lot of confusion because now, like, this is where you're supposed to wrap stories and start stories. And there was a wrapping, but I'm not quite sure where we go from here, kind of thing. That being said, I don't have any notes on the actual match itself. I just have a few things I thought were cool and I wanted to mention. The
Mm-hmm.
first is these guys' entrance. Hiromu,
Oh,
Hiromu'd. That was just he. Yeah, Yeah. And like to be fair, when he first came out, he didn't even have that head hole. He was just kind of walking blindly. He pulled out the hole, and then nearly lost the head on the entrance ramp.
Oh, sorry.
Andre, come on now.
You said it.
You're the one who thought it the way that it was not intended to be understood.
Oh,
Anyway, he nearly lost his head on the ramp too when he started walking. He had to really hold on to the giant. I don't even know what that is.
it was cool.
It was adorable. It had long arms and he had really big boots on too. It was essentially a mascot for something. I just don't know for what, but it was adorable.
It's
And
the
then
mascot
Naito,
for Hiromu's mind.
same, my guy, same. And then Naito coming in with this like there was the very snake
Mhm.
inspired black tuxedo with some silver blingity blingies, and then I believe the pin chain thing on his lapel there had some LIJ markings on it or something. Very, very cool. Uh, but I do kind of share the same kind of sentiment as you. Kind of the match itself was pretty good. It just wasn't what I expected.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's my fault. I went into it with too high of expectations for what was built up for it,
Hmm.
but it didn't really feel like it reached its full potential at any point, even at the end. I will
Yeah.
say, though, that I really did appreciate the little heartwarming thing that they did afterwards, where Naito was standing there waiting for the fist bump, and he stood there a good hot minute, waiting for Hiromu to kind of recover, and then crawled his way up Naito before falling down again, and then finally getting up, doing the fist bump. I expected Naito to honestly pull the pump away, fist bump away. I was like, he's gonna
Honestly,
struggle and then pull away right at the last second and leave Hiromu screaming in the ring like,
I actually expected a little different because remember there was that House of Torture tease during the World Tag League for Hiromu. Uh, like there's a little tease of him betraying Naito, but he didn't. Obviously, I was expecting him to get up, go for the fist, and then just kick Naito in the dick and
I
just walk away. I expected that.
was gonna say, don't expect House of Torture. That would be too convoluted. That'd be the third time someone just abandons people for a House of Torture job. Thank you. Next.
Yeah, I don't think anybody truly wants that, but I don't know if he's going to ban him for House of Torture, but I figured he was going to kick him in the dick just to fucking get his heat back or something.
I mean, it would be hard because both of these guys are such crowd favorites.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I just yeah, but it did was announced later on after the show. It's now a three-way match for the IWGP Tag Team Championships, and it is Khan and Jeff Cobb versus the Young Bucks versus the men cashing in their World Tag League victory. So that the Tag League now matters again. So I am not as mad at the Tag League anymore. Hiromu Takahashi and Naito are in this match.
No, I'm still mad.
Oh, I'm so
I'm
mad the
still mad.
Bucks are there, but I'm just
They shouldn't be, because if we're
no
going to the legitimacy of the tournament, Naito and Hiromu are entitled to a
singles match.
opportunity at the champions. There is no champion, so they have to wait for there to be a champion,
They
in
chose.
my opinion.
They chose to cash their opportunity in to get in this match. They chose this.
I know, and it's not smart.
No, not at all.
Why you guys do that for? Because we know, like, even doing my predictions, I wish I knew that Jeff Cobb was in there, because that's who I thought was going to be in there anyway. But you made me think otherwise. So I held off. I actually predicted Haramu and Naito winning this one because anybody but the fracking Bucks is if we're losing the never open weight title because Takeshita is going to be taking it, and we know that that's going to be a kidnap belt. I don't want it to be, but I have to kind of go into it thinking it's going to be so that I'm not disappointed when it is. But to have the idea that our tag championships, which is the championships we need to be focusing on building right now because our tag division sucks. I haven't even picked a best team because I don't know who to pick because I
I
don't
have.
feel like there is one.
I have. It's really easy.
I
It's the
know
team that was
you do,
champions for
but
most of the year.
anyway, I don't know how I feel about this. This hurts my heart. Yeah. Let's hurry up so we can go watch it.
Main event time, IWGP Heavyweight Championship match. I am not going to go through this. I enjoyed this match. It was good. It was a really good match. I think Umino looked really good in here. Again,
Yeah.
Sabre makes everybody look like a goddamn superstar. You can make a brew.
Yeah.
He can make me look like a competent wrestler. Like
He could
that's how good
wrestle
Sabre
the Invisible Man on DDT and have an incredible match.
It would be 5 stars, and I would enjoy that. But this match, well, I enjoyed very good. Went too long.
I agree.
This match came in at 43 minutes and 44 seconds.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
It was long. Honestly, this should have been a maybe just over 30-minute match.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of fluff in here that couldn't take it. I still really enjoyed this match, but its length took away from it for me. And it honestly, if this was about 12 minutes shorter, it might have entered one of my best matches of the year category.
Oh.
But
I
because
expected it too.
I did too. But it's a really good match. But compared to the other 3 matches on this show that I put on my list, it's not quite there. The ending makes me happy, but I got to look at it from a certain perspective of it was good. It was a really good match, but I can't say a really good match was my match of the year because I think at least 2 of these matches on this show were better than it. And I love me some Zack Sabre Jr. Again, good match. I thought chain wrestling between these two was good. Both men's fire, because the more this match went, the more Sabre got fired up, the more Umino got fired up. These two were just killing each other. And like before I knew it, 15 minutes had passed. I was like, oh my God. And then I heard the 25-minute call. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. I'm like, okay. And then I heard 30 minutes. And then I heard 35 minutes. And I was like, okay.
Okay. I think I know why I didn't know it was this long.
Why?
I was on a phone call at this point while watching the show. So I had the TV on mute.
These two were beating the living piss out of each other. Like there were so many good spots. Like again, they were doing such good stuff. There's so much in this match. And there's one particular spot. Umino is stomping the head of Sabre in the ropes. It happens. And the ref comes over to pull him off. And he grabs the ref, his father, and throws him across the ring. That should have been a disqualification. So Red Shoes should fire Red Shoes. He's not doing his job properly. That should have been a DQ. He's favoring his son. There was also the spot where he'd been in the hold and he legitimately, eyes closed, was doing nothing. That should have ended. But again, I'll let that one go. But this was an obvious disqualification for throwing the ref across the ring blatantly. Fire Red Shoes. It's back. My Fire Red Shoes is hashtag Fire Red Shoes.
You're always hating on him.
When he doesn't do his job, I'm gonna shit on him. The great spot where Umino reverses a move of Sabre's and hits it, a beautiful looking Emerald Explosion, falls there with a Blaze Blade to the face. Great spot. The end of this match, though, after that Blaze Blade, he goes for the Death Rider. It's reversed into the ankle lock, which gets reversed into a victory roll for Umino, but he only gets 2. Sabre then hits a boot, hard slap across the face, and catches Umino with like an inside-out lariat. I'm like, oh my God, you don't see Sabre hitting inside-out lariats to people, but he did here. It looked great. Umino, Umino comes back with his own inside-out lariat, taking out Sabre. He lines up in the corner. As Sabre gets up, he runs, but his ankle gives out, and Sabre runs over and just kicks him in the face, picks him up. Zack Driver only gets 2, so he picks him up. All hail the king, the All Hail the King Gotch style pile driver. Shout out to his mentor, Minoru Suzuki. Picks him up. Sabre driver, which is the cross leg Michinoku driver. And Zack Sabre Jr. retains the championship.
Yes. New music
Honestly,
for him too.
Umino was not ready for this title. I don't care what anybody wants to say. He was not ready for this belt. But he did a really good job in this match.
Because we have to emphasize for the sake of Andre's excitement. He's not saying that because he's a mark for Zack Sabre Jr. He's not. Because Zack Sabre Jr.
I am.
You are. Yes, you are. But you're not saying that just simply because. We have been noting this lack of evolution from Shota Umino since his return over a year ago. It's not, he's not ready. He's not making the right growth in the right direction because he's still got these like weird little micro feuds going on throughout everything. I mean, this whole thing going on with who are they? I was calling them the tadpoles for a bit because I didn't know who are they.
Death Riders.
Yeah, them. He's still kind of got this.
Of tonight. We get him versus Claudio tonight.
Yes, I know. Let me get it out. We've seen him still kind of feuding with these guys and feuding with Zack, and there's been zero growth. Usually in these kind of big feuds with people who, like Zack Sabre Jr., who is trying to piss you off. He's trying to get in your face. He's begging you to converse with him. And then you have someone like the tadpoles, like the Moxley and Claudio. And who else is in that group? Wheeler?
Yuta, and Pac is there, but he's been gone for the last month because he's been over in England.
Still, all of these people are all,
Marina Shafir is in there.
They're all characters, is the point that I'm getting at. And especially Moxley, very fracking loud. Very, very loud. Charismatic individual, as much as I hate to admit it, because I'm not a big Mox fan. But he's working with literally the best people to develop a character with. And there has been a very staunch, feet in the ground, arms crossed, 2-year-old child going, no, I don't wanna. As we've been dealing with the same Shota, who looks like Tana and has the haircut of Naito and wrestles like Mox. We need to know who Shota is. And I hope after tonight, going into the new year, we maybe see Shota, because I personally want to see Shota lose tonight. I feel like he's going to win, but I feel like if he takes a loss to Claudio, that we might see him kind of go, what do I need to do? I need to go do something. And I hope he takes a couple months away to either just chill for a little bit, fit and rest his hip, his ankle a little bit more, and train, and then sit down with a stylist and just be like, what can you do for me, honey? And create something new. I need to see Shota Umino. I need to see what it is that he thinks that he can be. Because right now
needs red shoes.
I wouldn't be mad about that. Make a gimmick out of it. Bring your dad into it and make it a funny little thing. I don't care. Like, have that midlife crisis that Okada had before he left. Remember with the balloons and shit? Have that. Why the fuck not? Be the mental breakdown guy. Bring public awareness to things.
Start dressing up like Pookie and Death. I don't know. Steal another gimmick.
Andre would appreciate that. I'm sure he probably thinks Shota's a bit of a clown.
Very much so. So post-match, Sabre gets the mic. He says, you're not the ace yet, but you impressed me here, and I'll be waiting for you again. I am the winner, and I will win tomorrow. Happy New Year, everybody. Enjoy tomorrow, and this is the year of TMDK. Again, this is all translated by Charlton live on there. Yes. So again, I just got little things. But yeah. And then he sits on the apron with his boys. And two of his boys now have gold. Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, we're missing a few people, but Missing 3 people, but
Well, if I'm two of those people, I'm a little pissed at this company.
me too. I'm pissed at this company already for not having those two as champions again, but that's bad booking.
Yeah, Gato, fix it.
Yeah. But we've come to the end of another episode of NJPW Puroresu Review. There will be another one out in the next couple days. Dynasty, we will have a review. It's just we're not sure when we're going to be recording. We have a recording with A plus. We have a recording with A plus tomorrow, so I don't know if we're going to be able to get this one, Dynasty in. And then Melville's got a live show on Monday, so probably won't be able to record it till probably Tuesday. But there will be another episode coming out for covering Wrestle Dynasty, and then we're going to have our debut show of Did You Noah next week for the Noah pay-per-view. We'll have a review of Dream Review Mario will return with a review of First Dream. We'll try to get a New Year's Dream review out there at some point, but that might just be in Japanese Wrestling Update next week. But yeah, we'll get you covered. We'll get you covered. So you can find me on the X and Blue Sky at That Canada Guy, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads at That Canada Dude. You can find me on Facebook at Andre Melball Wrestling Talk and our YouTube page, youtube.com/at Andre Melball Wrestling Talk. You can also find us over on our partners, A Plus Productions, where you can hear us all in audio form. And please go over to aplusproductions.com to get the RSS feed for the wrestling. And you can also get their sports feed and their entertainment feed. Well, you can also go to Facebook and join the A Plus Productions Facebook page and chime in with a bunch of great people. So, you can find me on our local establishment on Twitch and YouTube. Come check us out over there. Japanese Wrestling Update on Friday. I'll be there Sunday morning. I guess it'll already been past when you hear this episode. There every Sunday for the prediction show, whatever it'll be after the season's over. And I'll be back on Japanese Wrestling Update on Friday with Melba Chat Wrestling. And Marvel Talk, lots of that coming. And one more shout out, Mike the Ref, youtube.com/@backburger video, simulcasting all of our stuff. Thank you so much, sir. You can see him live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Mike the Ref for his gaming content and his AEW watch alongs. You can see replays of his gaming content at youtube.com/@backbreaker_gaming. Melba, where can they find you?
If you're wanting to follow a Melball, you can follow her on the X thing at Collins Melball. You can follow her on everything else, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Mastodon, and Blue Sky at Melball Collins. You can also find me on our local establishment programming, as Andre mentioned, Japanese Wrestling Update every Friday at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. Unless it's not, we'll let you know on social media. I will be on Mondays on our local establishment with the Women's Classic Wrestling Show with the talented, natural Astrid Pizarro and the beautiful Auntie Collins, where we are currently reviewing the Mae Young Classic from 2017. We have just entered round 2, second round 2 now, so I believe it's episode 6. So we will be reviewing that on Monday, so come on down 8 p.m. Mountain Time to hear that. What else? You can also find me on Astro Pizarro's YouTube channel where we do our show, Latest Wrestling Showcase. Stay tuned to our socials to see when that bad boy is coming out next. If you're wanting to watch any NJPW, we will leave a link in the description box below. It is njpwworld.com. It is, how much is it now, Andre?
$14.50 Canadian.
So, 15 Canadian, so Sean's beers and a half.
Like
What
10
the
American.
frick was this?
Broken heart.
No, this is broken. What is it? It's the Grinch's heart. It's going to go 3 sizes. Anyway, Sean Spears and a half, 15 Canadian, to subscribe to NewJapanWorld.com. If you're wanting a taste of some of the matches that you will be experiencing, all of their TV title matches are all free, including the one we talked about tonight. So you can go on there, take a gander at all of those, check out Zack Sabre Jr.'s TV title run before he got the IWGP big title, and then subscribe, because it's definitely worth it. Andre, my trusted friend and colleague, do you have anything else to say to the beautiful people?
I just want to say thank y'all for so much for tuning in. If you are listening on A Plus Productions, thank you so very much. If you do want to hear this in audio form, go to aplusproductions.com, add the RSS feed for the wrestling feed to your podcast catcher of choice, and also go over and check out the Facebook page A Plus Wrestling on A Plus Productions on Facebook. And if you are watching on our YouTubes, whether it's on Andre Melball Wrestling Talk, whether it's backbreaker video, thank you so very, very much. We really do appreciate you. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below. Don't forget to share us out to all your friends, family, and just crazy people who like ginger ale. I'm one of them. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can be alerted every time we drop a new video.
Bingo.
Hello.
Hello. And that being said, I am your Melball. Now where there is Andre. We will see you next time. Adios.